Getting away with lies often comes with material rewards, but does it pay psychologically? On the one hand, research shows that some forms of deception, such as successfully cheating on a task, can feel thrilling. On the other hand, negotiations are social interactions, and lying to a counterpart means deceivers have to face the realization of a salient victim. Misleading another person might taint the thrill of gaining material rewards if people dwell on their deceptive tactics. To reconcile these competing predictions, we conducted studies to identify the psychological consequences of duping others for material gain. In recent research with my co-authors Alex Van Zandt and Jessica Kennedy, we studied this issue in the context of buyer-seller negotiations, where lies are especially rampant. In one study, participants acted as a seller in a negotiation over a computer and stood to earn more money the higher the sale price. Half the participants interacted with a buyer who was unaware of a defect in the computer, presenting the seller with an opportunity to lie. 3/4 of those sellers did lie to get a better price. The other half of the participants were randomly assigned to a control condition where the buyer was aware of the defect, eliminating the opportunity to lie. On average, participants who seized the opportunity to lie earned more money in the experiment. But despite making more money, they were less satisfied with the negotiation experience and their outcome than sellers who did not have the opportunity to lie. 3 additional studies revealed a similar pattern. Undetected lies carried psychological costs, even when they allowed negotiators to profit economically and remained hidden from counterparts. Despite the monetary benefits, deception elicited more guilt than positive emotion in the deceiver and tainted the deceiver's negotiation experience. Our research also revealed another cost exacted by undetected lying: damage to the relationship with the victim. In another study, participants again negotiated over the sale of a computer with a buyer whom they either did or did not have the opportunity to deceive. This time, however, participants engaged in a follow-up negotiation with the same partner in a context that did not present them with an opportunity to lie. Despite their earlier lies remaining concealed, participants' earlier lies colored their subsequent interaction with that partner. Deceptive participants were less satisfied with the second encounter with the same partner than participants without the opportunity to lie in the first negotiation. Further, they were less likely to choose to interact again with that counterpart on a nondescript third task, even though they got away with the first lie. In other words, they opted out of the relationship faster. These findings indicate that undetected dishonesty can damage relationships in the eyes of the deceiver, undermining their satisfaction in future encounters with the same partner and leading them to avoid future interactions with that counterpart. In a final study, we found that successful deceivers who were acting as agents and were just following orders given to them by a client were also less satisfied with negotiations. So before engaging in deception, you want to consider the common negative consequences, including the guilt you will feel and the negative impact it will have on how you see yourself. Now, you may be wondering if the liar's moral character matters. That is, does lying induce guilt only in people who are high in moral character? Moral character is comprised of 3 sets of traits, including self-control, empathy, and a moral self-concept, meaning an individual values being honest and straightforward with others as an important part of their identity. Presumably, people who lack moral character, that is, people who struggle with self-control, fail to empathize with others, and don't consider morality fundamental to their self-concept, should be relatively comfortable with telling lies. To test this possibility, we measured those 3 traits associated with moral character. Yet those traits did not impact the amount of guilt induced by lying. Even participants who exhibited relatively low levels of the moral character traits felt worse when they lied than when they did not have the opportunity to do so. The bottom line is that self-serving lies incur psychological costs and can damage relationships, even when they go undetected. Next time you are tempted to lie, the psychological consequences might be worth considering. You could get away with the lie, but the psychological and relational costs might outweigh any material benefit. But what if there's a large financial windfall? We reasoned that large payoffs for lying might ease any psychological burden from acting dishonestly if one gains a lot of money from the lie. To test this reasoning, one of our studies compared a small incentive to lie to one that was 12.5 times the size. A larger incentive size did not eliminate guilt. On the contrary, guilt emerged regardless of incentive size, and the large incentive made participants feel even guiltier and less satisfied with their outcomes. This speaks to an interesting study published in the journal Science in 2019. The researchers planted 17,000 wallets containing various amounts of money at public and private institutions across the globe and measured whether recipients contacted the owners to return the wallets. Note that in each planted wallet, an identification card had been included so that recipients could return the wallet if they chose to do so. Strikingly, and in contrast to standard economic models of rationality, people were more likely to turn in the wallets when they had more cash as opposed to when they had less. The researchers concluded that people were more concerned about the owner's losses when they were big as opposed to small, and recipients were more likely to view themselves as having stolen something of value if they kept the large wad of cash as opposed to a small amount of money. Taken together, this study is an important demonstration that high stakes can actually lead people to be more honest, not less. So the next time you want to preempt a lie, you might remind a would-be deceiver about how much is at stake for you, in the hope that their altruistic concerns and fundamental aversion to being seen as a thief will kick in.